Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're gearing up for any banking exam, you already know that government schemes are a huge deal. Well, today we're tackling one of the big ones, the CGTMSE. By the end of this, you're going to have this topic completely down, I promise. So, here's how we're going to break it all down for you. First, we'll decode what the scheme is all about. Then, we'll see who's actually eligible. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how the guarantee works and what happens when a claim is filed. And we'll wrap it all up with a rapid-fire round of the most important facts you need to remember. Okay, let's dive right in. First things first, what exactly is the CGTMSE scheme? And maybe more importantly, why does it even exist? What problem was it created to solve? So imagine this scenario because it's super common. You've got a fantastic business idea, a solid plan, but you don't own property or have assets to offer a bank as security. This is the classic roadblock for countless micro and small enterprises. That's exactly the problem CGTMSE was built to solve. Okay, so here's the key thing to get. CGTMSE doesn't actually hand out loans itself. No. What it does is provide a guarantee, a promise, to the banks. It's basically telling the banks, hey, go ahead and give that loan to that small business, even if they don't have collateral. If something goes wrong and they can't pay it back, don't worry, we've got your back. It's a giant safety net, encouraging banks to lend more freely. And this isn't some brand new idea. This thing has been a pillar of small business funding since way back in August 2000. It's evolved over the years, got a new name in 2006, and it's constantly being updated. The latest big refresh is set for April 2025. Which just goes to show you how important it still is in today's economy. Okay, so we know why the scheme exists. Now let's talk about who can get in on it. And for your exams, you absolutely have to know who's in and who's out. So let's meet the key players. So who's this for? Well, it's aimed right at the heart of our economy, micro and small enterprises. It doesn't matter if you're a brand new startup or a business that's been around for a while, as long as you're in manufacturing or services, you're in the running. But, and this is a big but for your exams, pay attention to who's not on the list. Agriculture, self-help groups, and joint liability groups. They're not covered by this one. And on the other side of the table, you got the lenders, or what the scheme calls member lending institutions. And listen, we're talking about pretty much any bank you could be aiming to work for. Public sector banks, private banks, foreign banks, you name it. Plus RRBs and small finance banks. The only catch is they have to be registered with CGTMSE to play. Okay, this next part is super important to understand. You have two kinds of security. Primary security is the thing you buy with the loan, like the new machine for your factory. The bank always has a claim on that. But then there's collateral security. That's the extra stuff you have to pledge, like your house or land. And getting rid of the need for that second thing, the collateral, that's the whole point of CGTMSE. All right, time to get into the nitty-gritty. And pay close attention here, because this is where those tricky exam questions love to hide. Let's talk numbers, fees, and coverage. So the first big number you need to burn into your brain, 10 crore rupees. For most of the big banks, your PSUs, your private banks, that's the absolute maximum loan amount that CGTMSE will guarantee for one single borrower. Now, just remember, that limit can be a bit lower for other players like regional rural banks. Now, this guarantee isn't exactly free. The bank has to pay something called an annual guarantee fee, or AGF. You can see the whole structure right here, but the simple takeaway for your exam is this. The bigger the loan, the higher the fee percentage. Simple as that. But what if a loan is pretty big and the bank isn't comfortable with it being completely unsecured? Well, the scheme has this really clever, flexible option called the hybrid security model. It means the bank can take a little bit of collateral for part of the loan, and then CGTMSE steps in to guarantee the rest. Think of it as the best of both worlds. So how much does the guarantee actually cover? 100%? Not quite. The standard coverage is 75% of the amount that's defaulted on. But look here, this is where it gets interesting. The government gives an extra boost to certain priority groups. We're talking up to 85% for micro enterprises and units run by SC/ST entrepreneurs. And for women entrepreneurs and Ogniviers, it goes all the way up to a massive 90%. Okay, so what happens when a loan goes south? When a business just can't pay it back? As a future banker, you absolutely need to know this process inside and out. Let's walk through it. There is a really clear step-by-step process here. First, the loan account has to be officially declared a non-performing asset, an NPA. Second, there's a mandatory waiting period, a lock-in of 18 months. Third, the bank has to prove it started legal action to get its money back. And only after all three of those things are done can the bank finally go to step 4 and file its claim with CGTMSE. And once CGTMSE approves the claim, they don't just hand over all the cash at once. First, the bank gets a big chunk, 75% of the guaranteed amount. That gives them some immediate relief. The rest, that final 25%, comes later, only after all the legal recovery stuff is totally finished.
Now, remember that third step about starting legal action? Well, here's a huge detail for your exam, so listen up. For smaller loans, anything with up to 10 lakh rupees outstanding, banks don't have to go through the whole legal hassle before filing a claim. They can waive that requirement. That's a game changer, because it makes the process way faster and easier for tons of smaller accounts. All right, let's wrap this up with a quick fire round. Seriously, get your phone out and screenshot this next slide. This is your ultimate cheat sheet for the CGTMSE scheme. These are the facts you absolutely have to know. You ready? Let's go. When was it founded? 2000, by the government and SIDBI. What's the max loan amount? 10 crore. Collateral? Not needed unless it's that hybrid model. The fee? It's tiered, based on how much is outstanding. Claim lock-in period? 18 months. First payout? 75%. And that legal waiver limit? 10 lakh rupees. Got it? Good. So after all those numbers and rules, what's the big idea? What's the spirit of the whole thing? It's really this. The scheme wants to be a catalyst, a spark for entrepreneurship. It's all about shifting the focus away from what an entrepreneur owns and onto the power of what they can create with a great idea. And that brings us to one last question, a big one I want you to think about. Is a scheme like this just shuffling risk around, moving it from the bank's problem to the government's problem? Or is it doing something much deeper? Is it actually creating brand new economic opportunities? Opportunities that simply would not have existed without it. Something to chew on, right? All right, that's it for me. Go crush those exams.